Hello, my name is Shajib Darshabo, and today I'm gonna talk about 5 JavaScript ES6 interview question answer. So, the first question is, tell me about ES6 or what ES6 features did you use? Answer: ECMAScript 2015 or ES 2015 was the second major update or a significant update to JavaScript. ECMAScript 2015 is also called ES6. In ES6, we are introduced to so many major features. Among them, some features I used in my project: let to declare block scope variable, const to declare constants, also similar to let, but the value can be changed. Arrow function to write a function by writing short syntax. Map to hold a collection of key value pairs. Also, there are some important features I have used in ES6, like for of, set object, classes, default parameters, array.find function, etc. Okay, the second question is, what are the difference between var, let and const? That's a very interesting question. Answer: var, let and const are variables in JavaScript. We can declare variable using these three keywords. In ES6, we are introduced with let and const, whereas var was the oldest keyword to declare a variable. There are some difference between var, const and var, let and const. Let's explain it. Var is a global or function scope. Let is a block scope. Const is a block scope. Var can be assembled globally. Let cannot be assembled outside of the particular block. Const also cannot be accessible outside of the particular block. Okay. Var can be updated, can be redeclared. Let cannot be updated, but let can be updated but cannot be redeclared. Const cannot be updated or redeclared. Okay. The third question is, what is scope in JavaScript? Or explain JavaScript scope, block scope and global scope, or block scope and global scope and lexical scope, the difference. Okay, answer: the visibility and accessibility of variables is determined by scope. There are three types of scope in JavaScript: block scope, function scope, global scope. Okay, let's explain it. Block scope: variable declared in block is cannot access from outside of this block. Let and const provide block scope. Function scope: in JavaScript, each function creates a new function scope. Variable declared inside a function cannot be assembled outside of the function. And inside of function scope, we can declare lexical scope. Lexical scope means inside of a function there is another function, and the child function can access the variable of parent's function. That's called lexical scope. The third scope is global scope. If a variable declared outside of the function is called global scope, and function can access it. Okay, the fourth question is, difference between local storage and session storage. Local storage and session storage both are used to store data for particular domain by k and pairs, k and value pairs in the storage. The main difference is local storage store the data locally. That's mean if the domain is open in new tab or a new browser, it will be there. Whereas session storage store data for particular session, which will be removed if the session is closed. Okay, the last question is, how will you debug a JavaScript application? Answer: sometimes we have to face some syntax error or logical error while building a JavaScript application. Searching for the error to solve them is called debugging. There are many ways to debug a JavaScript application. We can use the console log method. Can use this method to see what values are coming. We can set breakpoints. Can set breakpoints for the debugger window, from the debugger window actually, and at each breakpoint code will stop executing, and I can examine the value. We can write debugger keywords. It will stop the execution of program and call the debugger function. That's all for today. Thanks for your patient hearing.